Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, let's talk about one of those super specific and honestly kind of frustrating check engine codes your car can throw at you. If you've ever plugged in a scanner and seen P0205 pop up, well, this is for you. Okay, so that little orange light is staring you in the face. You get the code P0205. This isn't just some random glitch, you know? It's a very precise message. We're going to treat this like a little detective story and follow the clues to figure out exactly what's going on under your hood.
So first things first in any investigation, right? We have to understand the clue itself. That code P0205, it's not just a number, it's a specific message pointing us to a very particular problem in a very particular place.
So what this really means, in plain English, is that your car's main computer, its brain, the PCM, has spotted a major problem. It's lost the electrical connection to the fuel injector on one specific cylinder, number 5. And that word open, that's the key. It's like a cut wire. The circuit is totally broken.
Here's a great way to picture it. Imagine an assembly line. One of the workers suddenly goes deaf and can't hear any instructions. They just stop. Well, that's cylinder 5. It's not getting the order to spray fuel, so it just stops working. And that throws the whole engine completely out of whack.
Okay, so that's what the computer sees. But what's really wild is how this digital problem, this electrical fault, turns into real physical symptoms that you can actually feel when you're driving.
Your engine is literally running with one less cylinder than it's supposed to. So if you have a V8, you're running on 7. If you have a V6, you're down to 5. That imbalance is what causes that awful shuddering and rough idle. The power loss, well, that's obvious. You're down a cylinder. And the bad fuel economy happens because the engine is trying and failing to compensate for the dead cylinder.
So, our detective work brings us to the big question. What could actually cause this whole mess? When a mechanic looks at this code, they're basically rounding up a lineup of 4 usual suspects.
Now, the number 1 suspect, the one that's guilty most of the time, is the fuel injector itself. The little electrical coil inside it just burns out. It happens. Less likely, but still possible, are problems with the wires or the plug that connects to it. And then, way down the list, in really rare cases, the car's computer itself could be the problem. But hang on, before anyone even picks up a tool, there is a massive trap that can completely derail this whole investigation. This is, without a doubt, the single biggest mistake people make with a P0205 code. It sounds almost too simple to be true, doesn't it? But the most common error is just figuring out which cylinder is actually cylinder number 5. You'd think it would be the 5th one in a row, right? Well, as you're about to see, it's way more complicated than that. Just look at this. This chart shows the problem perfectly. On a Chevy V8, number 5 is on the driver's side. On a Ford V8, it's on the passenger side. On an inline 6, yeah, it's the 5th one back. But if a mechanic just guesses on a V8, they could replace a perfectly good part and you'd still have the same problem. This is why a service manual is a detective's absolute best friend.
Okay, so let's move on to the actual hands-on investigation. Once our mechanic has correctly identified the right cylinder, the process of finding the real bad guy is super logical and methodical.
A good tech always starts with the easy stuff. Just a visual check. Is the plug all green and corroded? Is a wire melted? If everything looks good, they'll pull out a multimeter to check the injector's electrical health, kind of like taking its pulse. Finally, they'll use a special tool called a noid light to see if the computer is even sending the signal to fire the injector in the first place. And right here, this is usually the smoking gun. When they test the injector, a healthy one will have a resistance between about 11 and 18 ohms. But if that meter reads OL, which stands for open line, that's it. That's the aha moment. It means the coil inside the injector is broken. The circuit is open. Case closed, the injector is bad. So after all the investigation, it's time for the verdict. What's the most likely cause? And more importantly, what does this all mean for you, the person who actually has to drive the car? Well, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. The numbers don't lie. In about 85% of cases, a huge majority, the fuel injector itself is the culprit. It's a part that just wears out. Wiring problems make up most of the rest, and an actual computer failure is super unlikely. So this brings us to the bottom line. The question you're probably asking. Your car still starts and drives, even if it's rough, so can you just ignore the light for a while and deal with it later? The answer from pretty much every expert is a very clear, very simple no.
While the car might get you down the road, you are taking a really big risk every single time you turn the key.
So here's the crucial takeaway. That P0205 code is not just an annoying light. It's a serious warning. When you keep driving, that engine imbalance puts a ton of stress on other parts. And that unpredictable power? It's a genuine safety hazard if you need to pull out into traffic. Getting it fixed quickly isn't just a good idea for your car. It's the smartest and safest thing you can do.